Hi everybody. So I did a video last week talking about INFJs and how we continue to hurt ourselves. And there was a comment that kept coming up, people reaching out to me about a specific comment that I made in that video. And it brought a lot of attention, which is good. I love it. I love when people reach out to me. It wasn't bad attention, but this comment brought a lot of attention of people asking more questions. So I thought that I would talk about this comment. And it was, the comment was about, I can't remember exactly how I worded it, but it was on how I choose to believe that people do not mean to hurt us. They don't always mean to hurt us. It wasn't their intention. It's just something that happens. And that is really hard for us to wrap our minds around when we've been hurt so bad. And it's very common for INFJs to experience a life full of a lot of hurt and trauma. So this is what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to unpack this a little bit. It's a big topic, but mostly I'm going to open my head and let you guys into my brain because I'm going to explain it from my perspective. And I'm going to share with you my story that I have never shared before about healing and why I chose to think of it this way, that people I believe that people don't always intend to hurt us. So welcome to my channel. I'm glad that you found it. If you're new, I'm so glad you found it. I hope it's helpful. My name's Trina. I'm an INFJ and I'm also autistic. I created this channel with hopes of creating a space full of resources where INFJs, people like myself, INFJs and autistic INFJs, could come and feel seen, heard, and understood and less alone, because that would have made a huge difference for me years ago when I started working on myself and realized there were very few resources for people like myself, and I felt very alone. So I hope you find it helpful. If you're returning to my channel, I'm glad you came back. I am grateful for everybody. I also invite you to like this video and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate the support. It keeps my channel going. Okay, let's get into this. I could talk about this topic for a long time. So the comment, I will link the video actually in the description of this video to the previous one I'm talking about. But my comment is that I really do believe that people don't intend to hurt us, that wasn't their intention. And lots of times they don't even realize that they have done it. Now I came to that, some of it is because I'm a registered Myers-Briggs practitioner and I have studied personality types, and I realized that everybody's perspective on what is acceptable and what isn't, and what will hurt people and what won't, is totally different. I'm not going to get into that because that's a whole other topic, but I just realized, I was able to realize that people are very, very different on how they interpret the world. And that goes along with what they would consider being hurtful. So not everything that people do, they would consider being hurtful because they're just a different type of person. Anyway, getting that out of the way, that's something to think about. The thing I spent years in that dark place of hurt, hating everybody, including myself. I hated myself, couldn't even look in the mirror. Nothing ever went right. It didn't matter what I tried, what I wanted to do, it would always crash and burn. I felt sad, I couldn't stand myself, I felt I was a waste of skin, life was a waste of skin, and I hated everybody around me. The list goes on. Right? The sadness, I wouldn't say depression, but just sadness, loneliness, anything dark, you name it, I felt it. I didn't want to feel that way anymore. I hated it. I hated it with a passion. And you get up in the morning and I would be having this great day. It's going to be a good day. For years, I have always had the intention when I get up in the morning, it's going to be a good day. And then something would happen. I don't know, it would be a song I would hear, or something somebody told me or said to me, or a smell, and it would trigger those hurt memories. Maybe I didn't even know what it was that triggered it, because at that point I wasn't clear on my triggers. So I may not have even known what triggered it. And all of a sudden, these hurt memories would come back and I would relive them over and over again. And I'm not going to get into detail of my hurt memories, but I spent years with a narcissist. It was glorious. So you can imagine, right? And I was a target for bullies being younger. My school years were horrible. I would never go back to my childhood. I'm not saying my childhood was all bad. However, I would not want to relive it again. I was kicked, I was pushed, I was spit on a daily basis, called names, told how ugly I was, right up till grade 12. I hated it. In fact, so bad I didn't even go to my graduation. I graduated, but I refused to go. I flatly refused to go because I was done. Anyway, I hated those days when I'm very spiritual, so I'm going to say this. I was vibrating high, and it took just a few seconds, and boom, I'm back with a memory coming up, and everything went down. My vibration, my mood, everything was down, and I was back to hating myself. Before that, I felt like I could conquer the world. Well, I wanted to stay in that feeling, right? I wasn't scared. I wasn't down on myself. I could look in the mirror when I had that feeling, but that feeling wasn't there very often. And I was so sick of this. I didn't want to do this anymore. So I started working on myself. I've been working on myself. I started back in 2008, but I got really serious in 2012. And I learned a whole bunch about who I am, about people in general, right? I did the work. I learned how my brain works, how emotions work, and how those two things work together, creating our own reality. And that's exactly what I was doing. I was creating my own reality. I was stuck in this, the way I see it is like a hamster wheel going around, a very dark hamster wheel, creating my own reality because I'd be stuck in that hurt, reliving all those memories. And when I say we're reliving them, we truly are. There's science that has been done on it, studies that on the INFJ brain, well, on the empath brain, a high sensitivity brain, that when we relive those memories, we are actually reliving it. It triggers that part of the brain that would have been triggered right at that moment when we experienced that experience, right? So when I say we relive it, we really relive it in a nutshell. But I learned how the brain and our emotions work together, creating our reality. And I also learned that we can control both of those, but we need to learn how to. So at that moment in time, the control that I had was to keep my brain and my emotions in that dark place of reliving hurt over and over and over again. And I didn't want to feel this way. I wanted to get to forgiveness so that I could let go of it and move on and stay in that higher spot where I felt really good, where I could go and do the things that I wanted because I wasn't scared anymore. I just wanted to feel forgiveness. Essentially, that's what it was. But in order for me to do this, after I had done, or while I was doing the work, I can't say after because I think life is a journey full of work and we're always doing work on ourselves and we always should be because we're always growing. But in order for me to get to that place of forgiveness, I discovered through the work that I did, I discovered what I needed, and what I needed was I had to believe that not everybody meant to hurt me. Because I am the type of person, and this is one of my values, is I like to see the best in people because I like to stay on that positive side. Now, I'm not saying my life is everything like roses and flowers and birds chirping and it's not like that. There's bad in the world. I get that. There is. But I like to focus on the good, and I like to believe that everybody has a little bit of good in them. Maybe not everybody does, but I like to believe they do, whether I'm right or wrong. Whatever, it works for me, right? So for me to get to forgiveness, I had to believe that not everybody meant to hurt me. Do I know why they hurt me? No, I have no idea. It's not my business to know. And the thing is I spent a lot of time, and this is a big thing that held me back from being able to heal, was I would spend so much time trying to figure out why they did this. This is an INFJ thing, is we need to know why. The whys are always important, right? And it's very hard for us to let go of the fact that we do not always get to know why people do the things they do. So I could spend my lifetime trying to figure it out, keeping me stuck in that hamster wheel and never figuring it out. So for me to get to forgiveness, I believe that not everybody meant to hurt me. And that completely changed the game for me, so that when those memories come up, I've mentioned this in a few of my videos about hurt, because hurt it's a big topic, and when we're healing, it's like an onion. We need to peel it back. There's lots of layers to healing. So this isn't something that happens overnight. These changes, it takes It takes time. Remember I said I started working on myself in 2008, got really serious in 2012. I've been working since 2012 daily on myself. I'm not telling you this to make you feel bad and think, well, I'm not going to do this work, because I really suggest or encourage you to do the work. It's worth it. But this healing and this change of thought and being able to control how we think of things. Remember I said I learned that we can control our brain, we control our emotions. When I say we can control our brain, I mean we can control our thoughts. Everybody's perspective on situations, our experience, we experience things in a certain way, and we think that that is the prophecy God-given truth. However you want to say it. That's what I use because I use weird words. Our experience is that is exactly how it happened because this is how I feel. Okay, so to us at that moment, to myself, just stick with me for a second here. At that moment, I truly believe that that experience that I experienced and how I experienced is the way it happened, and that's how it is. However, that is how I chose to experience that experience at that moment. Now, I know you're probably thinking, oh, well, there was a lot of hurt in a certain situation. How could I experience that any different? I give you that. I get it. I've been there, right? And at that moment, when we made the choice to experience it as hurt because there was no other option available or we didn't think, I get it. That was how we experienced it. But now we're in the future from that. You know, we're in our present, but that's in the past. We have the opportunity to think differently about that experience, and that's where the power is into forgiveness and healing and moving on, is we have the power to think of that experience differently. Am I saying those experiences didn't hurt me? No, they did. But I can look at it at a complete different angle. I can step back instead of going to that experience and reliving it with pain and seeing, okay, well, this is what went on and this happened. Okay, that's how it went. But I can make the choice to go back to that experience if I'm going to go back to it and relive it. But I'm going to relive it from a different perspective. What else could be going on? Why else could they have done this to me? This kind of leads me into the next thing that I wanted to talk about is what I have learned over the years is that most people's outward actions are controlled by what's going on inside of them. And I say most because, again, I'm not in everybody's head. Sometimes I would like to be because I think it would be very interesting because I'd love to know what makes people tick. But anyway, I'm not in their head. None of us are, and we don't get to be. But I do know from the work that I have done that our outward actions are influenced about what's going on inside of us. And people that are mean, the bullies, even the narcissists, the narcissistic people that we experience, and INFJs experience a lot of them, it's about what's going on inside of them. Okay, think about this. If you had a parent that hurt you, chances are, if you're an INFJ, chances are good. I'm not saying it's complete. It's like the truth that you're going to have a super critical or a narcissistic parent. It's just that there is a very high correlation that INFJs had one or the other of one of the parents were narcissistic or super critical or maybe both. Anyway, think about this. If you've studied narcissists, then you know that it's always about them. Everything is about them. If you take the spotlight away from them, that's when they get triggered. Everything is about them. You have to always make sure that they look good. You can't speak the truth. You have to basically live a lie when you're growing up with them because you're walking on eggshells and you want everybody to think that it's like this super happy family. It's all about them because they're going to be triggered, right? It's all about them, of what's going on inside of them, and that controls their outward actions towards you. So when I realized this, it helped me to be able to go back and change my perspective and my experience on situations that were very hurtful. Because when I started digging into it and realizing that a lot of those people that hurt me had narcissistic tendencies. Maybe not all. And I'm not a doctor. I can't diagnose anybody. I'm just going from what I've learned, and I did the best I could do with the information that I have. And it served me well, so we're going to go with that. So going back, they had that. Okay, so I had this experience. It was hurtful. This is what it did to me, and it made me feel bad about myself, and I hated who I was, and the list goes on and on. However, they said those things or did those things because of what's going on inside of them. And the more I understood people's behavior and did studying and worked on myself, it also helped me understand other people's behavior and realize what angle they were coming from. And it helped me to be able to have sympathy for those people that hurt me, which was a huge moment for me, to be able to have sympathy, to move from hatred, absolute hatred. And I know hatred's a strong word, but that is exactly how I felt. To move from hating them to a place of having sympathy for them. Not enough sympathy to want me to go and fix them, because I can't fix them. I know that. I cannot fix them, and I am not going to. But I moved from a place of hatred to be able to have sympathy that led me to have forgiveness, to led me to be able to get off that dark hamster wheel, so that now when that hurt is coming, and it's still going to come, it's a lifelong journey, it's still, those memories are still going to come up. And like I said in a past video, it's like a train. Think of it as a train. These memories are coming up, and you can see them coming, like you're at a train stop and you can see the train coming. When it stops, we have the choice. Are we going to get on that train or aren't we? We get on the train. We know where it's going to take us. Do we want to go there? I don't want to go there. So I just step back and I wave as the train keeps on going. I don't want to go there. Yep, I know that experience happened. It's always going to be part of me because it happened to me. That doesn't mean I have to get on that train and go down it, all that hurt. Right? Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. This is when I said that I need to believe that not everybody meant to hurt me, because I needed to get to this place. And this was the long version, well, longer. I could keep going on and on about it as to why I said that and why I needed to believe this. And it was very helpful for me to believe it. And I know it would be helpful for other INFJs like myself to believe this and follow the trail as to why it's important to believe this. So I hope that made sense to you. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, again, like my video, I invite you to subscribe to my channel. And thank you so much for joining me. I will see you again very soon with another video. Bye for now.